Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? It's a very cold Monday over here, but I'm really happy to be here. Let's see who's on the chat. We got Varjasin, hello my friend. We got RG3D Art, we got Alex D, and we got Cruz Plays. How are you guys doing? Welcome to our Monday live stream. Today we're gonna continue with the magical book. I'm just finishing my coffee here. There we go. It's actually hello. Tinchmesh, hola. I'm gonna have to start learning Matthias, hello. Seagraph, how are you guys? I'm gonna have to learn a lot more languages in the upcoming months. Hey, Shelby Kasim. Let's jump into our main screen right here. There we go. So we got a lot of stuff going on, my friends. On Saturday, we released a new video. Hopefully you guys saw it. And we got a lot of stuff coming. We got more premium courses. We got a new thing called the Student Art Nexus, or the Student Help Nexus. Morse, hello. Nitesh, hello. Hello from Brazil, Kelvin Nascimento. I'm gonna have to learn at least the greetings in other languages. So I know hello, I know Guten Tag in Dutch, in German. I know, is it Namaste in Hindi? I think it's Namaste in Hindi for the greeting. And then we got Hola, of course. Ciao in Italian. Bonjour in French, I think. There we go. So let's see. Yeah, a couple of news before we start with all of this stuff. We have new things incoming for the channel. Again, I was mentioning we got more tips and tricks. We got more premium courses, portfolio review. And now we have this new thing called the art submission or art helpline and stuff like that. The art help nexus, I think I called it. And that's when you guys can submit files so that I can take a look at them and help you out. So if you want to check that out, make sure to check the Saturday's video, because we were talking about that one, that new thing on that video right there. Hush in Swedish, says Matthias. Nice. Ganesh says, IK handle's not working in Maya 2023.3 version. It probably means that there's a bad setup there, my friend, because I have not had any issues with my IKs. And we have this thing right here, guys, the Spring Break Super Sale. We are offering a 90% discount for all of our courses in Udemy. So if there's any of the courses that you've missed in the last couple of months, the advanced character creature, or the advanced textures, advanced sculpting, the mechanical lion, the new stylized character, like any of the courses, we have a 90% off. It's going to be available throughout this week, so until Friday 24th. In case you want to check it out, the link should be down here in the description. Morse says, in Uganda we say Jivaleko. Hopefully I pronounced that right, Jivaleko. Aryan, how are you, my friend? Good morning. Good morning, guys. Nitin says, I have a female sculpt. Would you like to correction? Yeah. All of those things, guys. All of those things that you're mentioning. Like, if you have any issues, the instruction is as follows. Let me show you real quick. So, if you go to that video and all of the next videos in the next couple of all of the new videos, the link is gonna be here. It's called the Nextut Art Support Nexus. So if you go to the link that's going to be on the videos, you can submit a folder like Alston Henry did right here. And what you need to do is as follows. You're going to upload all of the things that you're doing. Like this guy right here, Alston, he submitted a C-tool, he submitted a CPR, and he submitted a .pur, so a pure ref files. And very important, I need you to submit a document explaining what's going on, right? Like, what is your problem? So I'm gonna go through them. I'm not gonna be able to showcase all of them, but we're gonna be selecting the ones that I feel can help the most to the community. So you can submit right here. So in your case, Nitin, if you want to submit your female sculpt right here, you can do that as well. There we go. Cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it for announcement, guys. Now we're gonna jump into our sculpt right here. This is what we were working on last Thursday on our surprise stream. Now this week we're also gonna have another stream on Thursday. It's not gonna be surprise because I'm already telling you guys, but we're gonna have another stream on Thursday. Okay, we're gonna continue working on this thing right here, and there's a lot of stuff that we're still missing. A lot of stuff. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So yeah, cool. Cool. Oh, you guys know something? You want to know a fun fact? Today here in Mexico, we have a holiday. Today is the day that Benito Juarez was born. So here's a little bit of Mexican history for you, my friends. So Benito Juarez was a president in the 18,000s, and this guy was really good. People in general think highly of him. He is compared to a lot of like pro-democracy presidents. He was a very good president, I would say. And yeah, like there's a lot of things going around. Like I don't know exactly who to compare him to in other countries, but he was a very progressive president for his time. So today he was born, and therefore no one's working today except me because we're here on the live stream. But I love 3D, so it's not really work for me. Curtis is asking, was the base for this done in Maya? The answer is no. We actually did it here inside of ZBrush, Cruz, and you can check the live stream on the channel. We were working on this last Thursday, and I started from scratch, from just a box. Matthias, we are working on the Discord channel, actually. Let me give you guys a sneak peek. We are working on it, but I'm like getting all of the roles and stuff done. Here, I'll show you. Look, there you go. It's almost there. It's almost there. I'm still working on the settings and everything so that we can make sure everything launches as nicely as possible. But it's probably going to be launching in the next couple of days. So as soon as we got the Discord open, I'll let you guys know so that we can jump there on the Discord. Let me go to all chat. Make sure I'm seeing every single message here. There we go. Cool. So let's start with the base here. As you can see, right where this like face is, I drew these lines, which imply that we have this like raised surface. And I was doing a little bit of like, what would be the word? I was just like trying to understand the proper form of this element. And I realized that the easiest way to do this would be to actually create another shape. So I'm going to go to Subtool. I'm going to append a new cube. I'm going to rotate the cube 90 degrees, or in this case 45 degrees. I'm going to reset this guy right here. I'm going to extend it so we get this sort of like diamond shape. And we can scale it so we fit the proper like the proper proportion right there. And we're gonna make it really, really, really thin. It's gonna be quite thin, something like that probably. We're gonna position it right on top of the book. And I'm gonna say Dynamesh, make it a Dynamesh option. And then with the knife curve, I'm gonna cut the corners. Oh, we start with the sneezes. There we go. So we're gonna be using the knife tool. I love the knife tool. It's one of the best additions, I think, to the whole thing in the past couple of years, I would say. It's really, really good. I think that one went a little bit like too wide. You can see here in the reference, see how the triangles go inside of that thing right there. So I'm definitely gonna have to play around with the shape. That definitely means that either my triangle was wrong. That's a little bit better. Probably a little bit wider. I'm gonna get it as close as possible. Maybe the whole book is a little bit like stretch or something. It's a little bit weird. Perspective is a little bit weird. I'm gonna take a little bit of an artistic liberty here. But maybe it's like I'm thinking maybe it's a little bit asymmetrical. So I'm gonna cut like there. Maybe a little bit less. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And then we're just gonna mirror and mirror in the weld to get the other side. Let's cut the top part as well. That looks a little bit closer, I think. Yeah, the full version of ZBrush is really good. Unfortunately, nowadays they changed the subscription models that they have, and that really messed up a lot of things. Like I love the old version where you would buy ZBrush one time and you would get it forever, and we were getting like updates all the time. Like every single year we would get like major updates. Nowadays we don't have that. Okay, there we go. So we got this right here, which looks quite nice. Now let's Dynamesh again. Hey Mart, don't worry man, I'm doing great. I'm gonna use the chisel brush. Actually, I'm gonna increase the resolution here a little bit more. And there's a brush called the chisel brush, and it's a really like sharp cut. This one. So as you can see, it gives us this very nice effect. So I'm gonna use it to create the lines that go inside this like plate. I'm just gonna press. I'm gonna start drawing with the chisel brush, and then I'm gonna press Shift, and this is gonna create a line. Okay, so there we go. That's kind of what I want to go for, but it's a little bit too intense right now. So I'm gonna make the brush smaller. I'm gonna reduce the intensity quite a bit. That's a little bit too low intensity. Let's go a little bit higher. Oh. Shift. And nope. There we go. A little bit slow as well. Let's go. Something like that. That's a lot better. There we go. And then we're gonna do the same thing going the other side, which is 40 degrees. You can see the 40 right there on the brush. There we go. So that should give me the sort of like effect that I want. Now I need to go back here though, and I need to fix this lines that I had before. So let's clean them up. There we go. Yeah, as Grab says right there, you can still get the perpetual license, but exactly, you can't get the, like, you don't get updates. You get updates for 1 year, and then that's it. You need to buy the license again, which sucks. It's really expensive. That's why I haven't updated. I have my 2022.7 license, and the 2023 was like $700. And the only thing that was really like impressive in my mind, or in my opinion, is the what's the word? The ray tracing, or the redshift thing. But in order to get like the actual redshift, you needed to get like the Maxon 1 thing so that you can render with GPU. So it was just like a lot of money trying, or they were trying to get a lot of money out of you. There we go. Let's move that a little bit there. Okay, so now for this guys right here, this sort of like bandy effects, like banding, we could have, of course, like sculpt it, but I don't think that's the best idea. I think those are the kind of details that's very, very good if we can actually model them in. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna append a cube. I'm gonna make the cube really thin, like this. Let's push this forward. Let's make it really thin like this. A little bit thicker here. And I'm gonna rotate this 45 degrees, it seems. I'm gonna duplicate this. And I'm gonna rotate this another 45, or in this case 90 degrees to the other side. Actually, before we do that, let's Dynamesh, so we get sort of like beveled edges. I'm actually gonna bevel them a little bit more. I'll answer the questions in just a second. Let me just finish this little thing right here, and we'll keep going. Oh, by the way, the fact that I mentioned the Benito Juarez Day, that means that we're actually going to be able to go for a little bit longer today. So if you're just joining in, don't worry. We got a lot of time to work with this. There we go. So we do this. And then we do this. Oh. And then we do this. And there we go. So now, as you can see, we got a pattern. Let's push this a little bit out of the pattern. There we go. And now I am gonna duplicate this pattern several times. Oh, wait a second. There we go. Make sure everything is aligned. And we're gonna duplicate this pattern several times. And then we duplicate again. And then we duplicate again. And that should be more than enough, I think. Let's do just one more. No, that'll be a little bit too much. Let's just do one more here. There we go. So now, if we scale this whole thing down, we should be able to position it. It was 40 degrees in such a way that it matches the thing that we have right there. Right? Make it a little bit thicker. Something like that. And now, of course, we need to clean it up again with our knife brush. So I'm gonna cut all of the corners there. And all of the corners there, and look at that. So that detail right there is gonna bake way, 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 way better than if we just like drew it. And it didn't took like that long, right? So let's do this. 80 degrees. Push it right here. And again with our knife brush, just gonna cut the ones that we don't need. Like so. And once we have this, we're gonna say, of course, mirror and the wealth. We're gonna have them on both sides. And if we want to be super, super precise here, I'm gonna go to Dynamesh. I'm gonna turn on groups. I'm gonna say auto groups on this side right here. Polygroups, we're gonna auto groups. That's gonna give us a individual group for each one of those. And with Dynamesh, each one of them will remain as its own little group, as you can see right there. And we're gonna get this very, very cool detail. Like if we do a quick render here, you can see how that looks like. Really, really, really interesting, right? That's one of the ways to do this sort of stuff. Let's go select lasso and let's just delete these little things right here. There we go. Delete hidden. That's it. We got that little detail there on the element. I think let's center the pivot point. Gonna make it a little bit smaller. There we go. Just modifying it a little bit here to make sure that it fits as nice as possible. There we go. Let's see the questions. How do you sculpt a straight line like that? Cruz is asking. Very easy, my friend. You just, whenever you're using any brush that has a little bit of lazy mouse, you need to have lazy mouse enabled. When you start drawing, you can press shift, and by pressing shift, you get this red line. Do not drop the shift. When you drop the shift, you get this, and you get a nice line, like a nice clean line going down. So that's how you do a straight line. Sakura says, I bought 2 courses of Jew in Udemy and I'm so happy, but I would like to have it in my Spanish language as well. We're working on that, my friend. We're working on either doing some voiceover for the courses or recording some courses in Spanish, because we know that there's a lot of students and artists in the Spanish-speaking world. Así es que no te preocupes, sé que estamos buscando la forma de trabajar en eso también. Dr. Manhattan says, it's ridiculous. It's only for big studios now, even for small studios a lot, not mention freelancer. Time to go back to traditional modeling and recently sculpting Blender, I guess. I tried this 3D code with Nexttude course, but for me sculpting there is worse than even Blender. But when Abraham starts making quick YouTube projects for 3D code, I will consider to revisit. Yeah, I need to try it out. I actually haven't tried like sculpting in the what's the word, in 3D code, so I'm not really sure how good or bad it is. In Blender, I actually liked it after a little while. It's not that bad. But yeah, unfortunately, ZBrush is going, I think, the wrong way. How do you snap and move the brush? Wissam is asking. Very good question. Very easy. So when you draw a line with the knife curve, like I'm not holding anything. I'm just holding click right now. I've let go of my keyboard, and as you can see, I can move the angle. You can press shift to make the angle more precise, as you can see right there. Or if you press the space bar, you can move the knife as well. So again, you just draw it once and then you just drop your hand. You don't need to touch anything on the keyboard. You're just using your mouse or your tablet. And then with space bar, you can move it around. And with shift, you can snap it. That's how you do it. And then when you let go click, when you drop your click, that's when it does the cut. So careful there. Hello, Burhanuddin. How are you, my friend? Tamil Levadvan says, I'm interested in buying... Oh, you retracted the message, my friend. I was about to read it. Don't worry. If you want to read it again, I'll be happy to read it. Okay, let's go for this guys right here. I'm going to show you a nice trick for those ones. So I'm going to go here to this guy, and I'm going to mask out the corner like this, okay? Once I have that masked out, I'm going to go to Geometry. Actually, I'm trying to think. Now, let's do it with knife brush. That way we can practice a little bit more. So I'm going to do append, and I'm going to append a new cube. There we go. And I'm going to position the cube in such a way that it looks or fits this sort of like border right there. So let's bring it to this corner. I would say roughly about there. Let's dynamesh this because we do need to have like free topology if you wish. And that's what we're going to do. So as you can see, this thing has a horizontal cut. So I'm going to go to my knife brush and I'm going to press Control, Shift. I'm going to do a horizontal cut. However, this is very important. When you're using the knife brush, you need to make sure that the gradient that you're seeing, like that, like sort of like dark line is going, like whatever's on the dark side of the line, that's what's going to be like deleted. So make sure that it's pointing on the right direction. In this case, I need to draw it from top to bottom. And I'm going to do something like this. And there we go. So as you can see, that gives us the cut right there. I'm going to cut this like square on this area right here as well. And let's go right there. I might even cut the corner a little bit here to kind of like bevel it. I'll probably just move it a little bit in just a second. Now you can see that we have 2 circles and a sort of like what's the word? Like arrow, right? So this means that actually I need to go back, and it would be better if I do this in a sort of like more angled way. So when you're drawing this sort of lines, this is slice lines, you can double tap Alt. So if you Alt very quickly, you create a sharp line like this. And what that will allow me to do, as you can see right here, is it will allow me to draw a line that's gonna be doing the sort of like movement. So now we got like the sort of like arrow going here. We still need to, of course, like make the arrow a lot smaller. And again, with Alt, I could just like try to cut it, but in this case, it's gonna crash. Yes. Oh my God. Unfortunately, the slice brush is really buggy, especially when you do complex shapes like those. It can become really buggy, and that definitely means that we just lost the progress. I was not expecting it to crash. Let's see if we can get a save file right here. Hopefully we can get something. Let's see. No. Well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, let's continue with this piece right here. It's early, so we have a chance to redo those things in just a second. So I'm going to say append. Let's do another cube. There we go. There we go. So again, let's position this right here. Will there be more animation courses? Matthias asked. Yes, we're thinking about that, my friend. Unfortunately, I'm not an animator. Like, I know the basics of animation, and that's why I created the basic animation course, so that you guys can get an idea of how animation works. But I'm not, like, on my day-to-day, I don't do animation, and I feel like it would be a little bit, what's the word? Like, not too honest to try to sell you guys a course where I'm not, or for what I'm not, like, perfectly capable of. So we're looking for someone to do that. Okay, here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the knife circle, which, as the name implies, will create a circle, and it will eliminate a little section of the element. So roughly about there, I would say. Trying to find like the perfect element. It's roughly there, I think. There we go. And then we're gonna have another one. I don't care if it's not perfectly symmetrical in this case, because I feel like sometimes symmetry can make it a little bit ugly, if you wish. And now what I'm gonna do, look at this. I'm just gonna duplicate this thing, rotate it around, and reuse sort of like the same shape to create the basis for my arrow. Like this. It's probably gonna be right there. And then with move brush, I'm gonna push this and start rebuilding a little bit. I'm gonna dynamesh all of this and clean the arrow up a little bit, of course. The arrow is supposed to be a little bit curved, so let's start cleaning this up. There we go. An important thing here is we want to make sure that the thickness of this arrow that I'm like inserting is pretty similar. There we go. Let's auto groups and dynamesh, and there we go. So now with my trim dynamic, I'm gonna start like cleaning up these shapes right here, making sure we get a really clean result here, or as clean as we can. Let's definitely make this thing a little bit thinner, and I might want to like rotate it a little bit so it like falls or follows the book a little bit closer there. It definitely needs to feel that it's kind of like embedded on the book. So I'm gonna start using my move brush. It's a very organic sculpt. Just embedded right here. Let's see, now we have the question. As an artist, have you ever struggled with imposter syndrome? Every single day, my friend. Every single day, Cruz. It's one of the worst things that we have as humans, I think, imposter syndrome. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. That's how I feel. Like, I can't believe I'm in front of 40 people and more than 200 views right now, like teaching you guys that I know how to do this. Like, I do feel like an imposter. But I've learned to realize that instead of feeling like an imposter, if I tell myself, hey, I'm just doing this, I'm just doing it for fun, and I'm just doing this to share like what I know. Like, if people wanna like hear me out and use my advices, then great. If they don't want to do it, that's fine. Like, I don't mind. So yeah, unfortunately, imposter syndrome is a really ugly feeling to have. But it's It happens to me quite a bit. It happens to me quite a bit. Like when I'm recording the courses, I frequently ask myself how am I doing this? Like, why are people following me? But I think it's because I try to be as honest as possible and show them, well, how I get my results. I never lie on my courses. Like every single thing I tell on my courses is the things that I do here in production. People seem to like my work, so I keep going. I know it sounds a little bit silly, but yeah, it's one of those things that I think every artist faces that. I've been criticized a lot as well. Like I've read some like very ugly very ugly comments on YouTube and other places. And well, I mean, you can't. It's very difficult for everyone to like you, right? So I just don't mind them, and I try to again have fun and do my thing. And if there's one person that's gonna benefit from this and they're gonna enjoy my content, then I'm happy. So yeah, don't worry too much about being an imposter, man. It's part of the job. Let's do this right here. Now we have some really interesting cuts as well. So I'm gonna add those cuts already here. And let's answer some more questions. So let's see. Tamil Banan says, I'm interested in buying a course, but there are some issues in Udemy. I bought your 4 courses in Udemy last month, 90%. Recently, I visited Udemy, my learning page, there are no single courses to learn. The course is missing. I reached the support team in Udemy, but automatic mail only received last 4 days. Now I don't know what to do. Oh, okay. No, that's fine, Tamil Banan. Here's the thing. Oh, by the way, I have a new email, my friends. So Tamil Ban, please send me all the information you have about your case to abraham@nexttut.com, and I'll see what we can do. Like we don't own Udemy. Udemy is a platform, so we upload our stuff to Udemy, and you guys get access from them. So we might need to check it out, but maybe we can like find out which courses you already bought, and if for some reason they disappear or something, we might be able to give them back to you. So send me all of the information that you have here on this email, and I'll follow you. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Wissam says, would not that be faster to do in a 3D package and append it? You mean this like little thing right here? Yeah, probably. To be honest, yeah. Like I'm trying to challenge myself with this prop and trying to do everything here inside of ZBrush. But yeah, like if I was working in production, I would probably be doing this in multiple softwares or packages. Karnak, sure thing, man. Let me open Karnak. Karnak is this little thing that we use for the keystrokes. I'll keep it open. There we go. So it's gonna be here. It's a little bit intrusive, but it's gonna be here. Let me just move the spring break banner. There we go. So now you should see the keystrokes right there. Yeah, Skillshare is another great way to get all of our courses. However, I believe Skillshare is a subscription-based, so some people don't like that. If you don't like subscription-based services, then Udemy with 90% off should be a lot better as well. Any tips for artists to find ideas to model? Recently, I've been struggling to get ideas to model. I mean, try to get things that you like. That's always a good idea. For instance, I'm a huge fantasy nerd, so whenever I want to sculpt a monster or something, I just look for D&D like monsters in the monster manuals and stuff. And there's so much information there, so many like cool ideas and stuff. Like just taking a dive inside of ArtStation is also a good idea to get some inspiration. I have used a little bit of AI to generate ideas. I know AI is a highly debatable topic right now, but I've used it a little bit. For instance, the Gladiator that we did for the Blender course, that was generated with AI, like the original idea concept, and then I refined it. You guys let me know and I can show it to you right now here on the stream. But yeah, like that's the kind of stuff that you might be able to just like get some ideas out. Creating your own characters is also great. It's a great idea to try your design like process and see how good you are at coming up with interesting ideas. You don't need to draw it, you just need to have the idea. And if you have the idea, then you can try to execute it inside of ZBrush or Maya. There we go. That looks okay. Let's add a little bit more curvature here to the arrow. You're welcome, Tamil Vanan. You're welcome. Wasn't it easier to do it with the mask tool? Yeah, probably. Time to save. Yeah, that's right. Let's quick save. Difference between subdivision and Dynamesh. Subdivision will keep a clean topology. You will always have a clean topology, or if you build it properly, you should have a clean topology, and it's really good for deformation. So if you're going to be doing any sort of animation, you probably want to have subdivision modeling because things bend, twist, and like scale like properly. If you're doing things like 3D printing or just like environments or things that are not going to be moving, then you don't really need subdivision modeling. Let's do the lock now. Let's duplicate this thing right here. I'm gonna duplicate. Let's move it up. There we go. We might need to like modify it a little bit here. Make sure it's hugging the proper side of the book. There we go. So just a small little piece there, and things are looking a little bit better. This is book that I'm doing right now. I think it's a perfect example of what I've mentioned before, which is a technique that I like to refer to when modeling and when sculpting. I like to call it modeling complexity out of simplicity. So if you have a lot of simple objects like thrown together, you will have a really interesting piece at the end of the day. So for instance, here we have like a big crack that's stitched together. So let's add the crack to the book, and it stops right around there. So you can create some really interesting assets with very simple stuff. All of the, or not all, but a lot of the stuff that we're doing here is just what's the word? Like cubes and elements. I don't know what happened here. Oh, I see what happened here. Wait a second. Oh, I was doing this on the wrong subtool. Let's append this, and let's append this. There we go. I was doing this on a decimated thing that I was using for rendering. There we go. So you can create really interesting things out of very basic shapes. So a lot of the things that we have right now on this asset are very simple, relatively simple to do. And as you can see, I'm not being super clean about them. I'm just like blocking in the rough shapes and stuff, and that's giving me a very nice idea. But once we start adding all of the different elements, all of the different things, this is gonna look really good. So let's go here for the lock. I'm gonna append a cylinder. Append a cylinder. There we go. And then you can see that the lock is pretty much two cylinders put together. So we're gonna have this one right here, and then I'm gonna slide this one back. It's roughly like that. A little bit thicker, and I'm gonna Dynamesh, and then with my clay buildup, or actually I'm gonna append a cube here and use it as a sort of like a bridge for both of them. There we go, just to fill in all of that gap right there. Let's say merge down, Dynamesh. There we go. You can just smooth things a little bit. It's probably a little bit thinner. And then when we see it from the top view, we can use again, remember the knife circle? You can use the knife circle to kind of like create the sort of like round shape, because we have that sort of like a round shape going around. And then with trim dynamic, we could just clean that line right there and smooth the transition. Let's isolate this real quick. We're gonna cut here. I'll answer the questions in just 1 second. There we go. Let's throw in a very quick smooth. And that's it. We got the basic shape of the lock. We're gonna be able to build something out of this. Let's center this. Go to the center right there. Make it small. And position it close to where it's supposed to be. It's roughly around there. I'll show you one trick in just a second here. I just wanna like bevel the edges. I'm going with this sort of like World of Warcraft, like everything's beveled styled. Did you guys play the Diablo beta this weekend? I was really like about to play it, but I had to buy the game and I was like, I don't have money for that right now. Probably wait for the open beta this next weekend and see how it goes. Okay, let's answer some questions. Let's see. Cruz says, yeah, imposter syndrome sometimes makes me sit in my comfort zone and too afraid to try something new or start a project. And also, where are you working right now? Okay, so about the imposter syndrome, something else that I wanted to say was that I heard a phrase, or you know, there's this like motivational quotes right in the internet. A lot of like famous people say them, sometimes like very wise people say them. And there was one that I really like, which was, hey, if you don't try, like you're never gonna get anywhere, right? So even if you are the imposter, just own it. just be like, yeah, whatever, I'm the imposter. I shouldn't be here, but I am here. So I'm gonna do my stuff, and if you guys like it, cool. And if you don't, whatever, it's the same thing, right? So if you think like that, if you just go like YOLO in a kind of mindset, YOLO mindset, and you just go like, I don't care, I'm just gonna do what I want to do, and that's fine. You might find like success there, and it's valid, right? The other thing is that you won't know your limits until you try them. So I've done certain things as an artist that I'm like, yeah, I can do it, and then I do it. It's like, okay, no, I wasn't ready for this. Well, now you know, because if you didn't try, you wouldn't know whether you were ready or not. And now that you're not ready, you can try to look for tools or pathways to get you to be ready, and then try again. So yeah. As for where I'm working right now, I own a small studio here in Mexico. It's called Hyperlab. We do VR and AR like related content. We do like experiences. We've been using Oculus Quest 2 for that. And I teach, of course. That's one of the main things that I do. And I freelance. I do a lot of freelance work as well. So every now and then I'll get like some cool freelance projects, and that's how I make a living. Alston says, Abraham, one more thing. If you're doing an environment, how to proceed with the texturing process? Texturing process depends on the kind of environment you're doing. It's not the same to texture an environment for film as it is to texture for games. So usually when you have multiple assets, if there are multiple small assets, you can have all of them in a single like UV tile. For instance, if you have like a plant, a pot, a chair, a table, maybe all of them can be in the same map, and that's fine. Other times you're gonna have to have like one individual map for each of them. But when I do that, I tend to export all of those elements into Substance as a single unit, so that I can paint them all together. If you want to know a little bit more about that, multiple assets and stuff, the advanced character texturing course that I released like a couple of months ago, that one covers a lot of like UDIMs and multiple elements. So that one could be helpful. Burhanuddin says, sometimes I'm getting very much irritated getting ZBrush just don't work, and as I want mainly... Oh, yeah, ZBrush can be tricky. I get what you mean. Arakokra, yeah, Arakokras are cool, Burjasin. That's a tricky, it's a challenging because of the feathers, but it's a good one. Morsay says, taking one of the anatomy courses with Victor Yamakado. Ooh, that's a great course. The Anthony Hopkins one, oof, it's great. Yes, if you want to clean stuff, Morsay, you can use Trim Dynamic. I personally love Trim Dynamic because when you smooth with Smooth Brush, you lose a lot of the details. But when you try to smooth with Trim Dynamic, you can get some clean, nice shapes, and then you add a little bit of smooth. So I personally like to simplify with Trim Dynamic. What is the difference between OpenGL and DirectX normal map format? Which one we use in game engine? We can use both of them, but depending on the engine, you're going to be using a different one. This is one of those like simple but complex questions. The OpenGL and DirectX are, I'm not a programmer, so I'm not exactly sure what the name is, but they're like graphic engines. So they interpret graphics and generate like visuals for things. So as you can see, they're pretty much the same. They look very, very similar. The only thing that changes is that they flip the X and Y channels sometimes. So as you can see, DirectX, the green is down here and the red is up here. And OpenGL, the green is up here and the red is down here. So most engines and most rendering softwares have an option to flip the channel if you have it wrong. I would say like 80% of the things that you're gonna work with, for instance, like Maya, Blender, Marmoset, all of them work with OpenGL. And the things like Unreal Engine, things like I don't remember what else, but they do work with DirectX. So you need to check which one your rendering engine is using. And in Substance Painter, when you're exporting the textures, you can change which one you will be using. Let's see. Far Horizon says, hey, Abraham, how's your day? Good so far. I'm really happy. We have 50 viewers. It seems like we have 50 viewers. I think this is one of the first times we've gotten all this high to the viewers. So I'm really happy to be sculpting some fun projects here. Let me just answer some more questions and we'll continue. You making any new course related to gaming? Yes, the new course, the sci-fi character course, that one's gonna be for games. So I've shown this concept before. I'll show it again because you guys have been so cool. Let me show you the concept art here. There we go. So I'm doing this character right now. I'm almost halfway there, I would say. So this one's going to be releasing in the next couple of weeks, and that's going to be a game for character, but it's going to be 2 parts because it's a lot of content. So the first part, we're going to be doing the high poly, and then the second part, we're going to be doing the low poly and then the textures, okay? But the high poly, there's a lot of information. We're going to do a suit, like a Zero suit, Samus suit, and then we're going to do the armor, and we're going to do the body. It's really complete course. So yeah, this one's going to be fun. This one's going to be the next course from me, but we're also working on other courses that I can't tell you right now with other instructors. So let's say David Sarn says, hey, from your personal experience, what is the normal salary for beginner 3D artists? It depends, but I think in average you could be expecting to earn the same salary that a like a junior engineer would be making. So here in Mexico, for instance, 10,000 pesos is a really like normal, decent, like beginning level salary, and then you start growing. But it depends on the country. You're definitely going to be making more than minimum wage. I think I can assure that because the skill that we have is good. But it depends on the country, depends on the company, depends on a lot of factors. So you might want to check Glassdoor. There's a site called Glassdoor where you can do that. Let's see. Brother, I wanted, this is by BT. Brother, I wanted to ask you a question. Can we render animation in Blender using gaming laptop? Yeah, that's fine. You might need to do it in Eevee instead of Cycles, but you can definitely render an animation with a laptop. Designer, you making any? Yeah, okay, I've already answered that, Matthias. Ishan, don't worry, man. We're here. We're still here. What do you think about the future of Blender? It's very promising, and I think Blender has this really interesting thing where since they are, or since other softwares like Maya and ZBrush and things like that are like pretty much dropping the ball, they're not doing everything that they could to, what's the word? To improve as much as they should. Blender could really capitalize on that and create something really, really cool. I think they definitely need to the work a little bit more on their like animation tools and their sculpting tools. If they can like be a serious competitor to ZBrush in the sculpting department, whew, that would be freaking great. Because as we were mentioning before, ZBrush right now has been trying to do some really like debatable, has been taking some very debatable decisions when working on these things. So it might be a good opportunity for Blender to do that. Let's mask the little hole right here. I'll answer more questions in just a second. Let's just keep moving here, otherwise we're never gonna finish. Let's push this in. There we go. think it's a little bit high, so let's make it smaller. And now for the lock itself, I'm actually going to be using a little bit of C modeler. So I'm going to start with a ring. I'm going to rotate this ring around. Make it a lot thinner. Let's push it forward. Let's isolate it for just a second. And I'm going to go to select rect. And I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete all of these faces. So delete hidden. Then I'm going to go to C modeler. I'm going to go to edge loop. I want to extrude. To extrude edge loop. Okay, or actually, now let's just grab this, mask it, invert it. There we go. We're just gonna push this down. There we go. And now, if we go to this, guys, I'm gonna polygroup. There we go. And then we're gonna go to Q mesh, and we're gonna Q mesh the whole polygroup. There we go. And then we can, for instance, go here and bevel the edge loop complete. That's it. Let's make it a little bit smaller and just play around with the general shapes. Give it a couple more divisions. And of course, this one's gonna go higher, so that it holds the thing a little bit better. And then this one's gonna go higher as well. Oh, seems like I did this guy the other way around. So let's rotate this. There we go. And that's it. Cool. How do you reset the UI on ZBrush, says Paras? You go to preferences, initialize ZBrush, no, sorry, preferences, config, and then restore standard UI. That's one of the ways. My Windows crashed now. I'm backing up everything. Don't know what to do. Is there any way out? I don't think so, Ishan. You might want to like back up all of your files and try formatting if the like OS just like crashed. I'm not exactly sure what do you mean. Alston says, Abraham, so I want to get this cinematic lighting in Maya course, which is available in the ArtStation, but I can't put it because it's in the US and I'm in India. I also didn't see it in Udemy also. It should be in Udemy. It should be on Udemy. Let me get you the link. Udemy. I'll get you the link real quick. The thing is, we have 65 courses. So sometimes they get like hidden and stuff. But it should be here. Here it is. There you go, my friend. So that's the cinematic course. It should, if you use the code that's on the description, you should be able to get 90% off as well. Remember that the prices on Udemy, my friends, they're regional, so they might change by country. But yeah, Gurav, yes, it's gonna be like the previous masterclass. So we're gonna do a full sculpting section and then a full like a game engine ready section. And that one, I think it might be a good idea to rig it and animate it as well. Alex D says, how many times do you need to create a character from start to finish? Which time is it normal for such a task? That's a great question. So I've mentioned this before. When doing characters, if you use a base mesh, and there's a lot of base meshes, like here inside of ZBrush, we have some base meshes. If you use a base mesh, the thing that's going to happen is that all of the characters that you create are going to look similar. That's the problem with using base meshes. They will speed up the process. You could go into like MetaHuman and drag one of those, but they're going to look very similar to all of the other things out there. So if you really want your character to be really, really unique, you might want to start from scratch all the way from the beginning, okay? So I would say like 60% of my characters I start from scratch, and the other 40% I do a base mesh. But again, it depends. Usually, for instance, for like stylized characters, you're not gonna be able to get away with that. I've mentioned this before. For instance, in Genshin Impact, if you take a look at the characters in Genshin Impact, they all share the same like body type. So they just use the same base mesh, right? Like only like you can see it right here. Like all of them are very, 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 very similar. So it makes sense to just reuse the same sort of assets because they're all so similar. That's because of the art style. If you're doing something like Overwatch, for instance, where Overwatch has a bunch of different body types and like proportions and stuff, it's very, I wouldn't be surprised if every single character from Overwatch is made from scratch, just because their body types are so different. So it depends on the production, it depends on the time, it depends on the budget. I personally prefer to do them from scratch every single time because you get more unique characters that way. Can you make tutorials on making realistic models like GTA, Uncharted, Mafia? This one, the one that I'm doing, it's gonna be very realistic. I also did the demon character. I did follow a lot of like really realistic things. So this guy right here, it's a little bit stylized, but it follows a lot of like the proper anatomy that you want to have for your characters. So if you haven't checked this one out, I would recommend that one as well, because we go over all of the anatomy that you might need. So yeah. Is there any way out to start Windows again? I mean, just like turning the computer off and then trying to go into safety mode. That could be something. Ishan says, yeah, I was working on rendering, just crashed now and have no access to my files. Yeah, try to go into recovery mode, and as Gaurav says, try to do an immediate backup of all your files in your hard drive, because that probably means that your computer is about to die, unfortunately. When will be the next art support Nexus video? It's probably going to be in the next couple of days. I saw your submission, my friend. You're the first one, so you're probably going to be the first one to get a review. Ishan says, how should I proceed at this? Is this normal to crash? Because I know Maya crashes a lot, but now nothing is working. Yeah, it's not normal for Maya to crash the whole computer unless your computer is a little bit old. It depends on the specs of your computer. But again, if it's just like looping or just like rebooting, just like press the power button and try to power it off and turn it back on again. That tends to solve the issue. Marco Cower, love your tutorials. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. George Bagdasian, I'm really happy I finally caught a live stream. Listening to Abraham talk 3D makes me calm down. Yeah, that's right, man. We're gonna have our tutorials every week. So if this is the first one you were able to catch, don't worry. We're gonna have way more. Okay, so let's see. What should we do now? Let's do the nails. The nails are, I think, relatively easy, and they shouldn't be that much of a problem. So there's 3 nails that I can see. We got 1 over here, and we got 2 over here. I'll show you. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you a trick, guys. If you guys are still learning ZBrush, this is a great trick to know. So I'm going to go to a basic cylinder right here, and I'm going to make this a polymesh 3D. As you can see, this is a tool separate from everything else. And I'm going to make the little head of the nail. There we go. And then I'm going to duplicate this, make it really thin, and I'm going to make the body of the nail. They're quite long, so I'm going to go for something like this. And we're going to dynamesh them. There we go. Now, I am going to use my thermodynamic to give this nail a little bit more, visual interest. I don't want this to be like just a very basic uniform nail. So I'm going to break the symmetry right here. I'm going to give it like a really big like push right here. Make it really, really damaged and stuff. Where it needs to be. There we go. And then, of course, over here, let's smooth everything out first. And we need to start giving it sort of like a point, right? I don't really need the point because this is going to be like nailed to the object, but just like a little bit again of changing the silhouette, so we get something that looks a little bit more interesting, and so that it looks like it's becoming thinner as it goes down. Like that. Okay? Cool so far? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to make this a insert multi-mesh brush. So anytime I need a nail, I could just go in and grab this one. Let's just clean a little bit there. So I'm going to say B as in brush, and down here I'm going to say create insert mesh. I'm going to create a new insert mesh, and there we go. We have an insert mesh right here. As you can see, I'm making the nail point towards me, so when I draw it, it's drawing into the object. Okay, so that's the first one. Now I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to change the silhouette of this one again. So I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive on the head for this one. Right there, and right there. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just B, create insert multi-mesh, and as you can see, it's going in here. Like I've appended this to the tool. I'm gonna go back to the first one, duplicate again. I'm gonna do a slightly different effect now on this one. I'm gonna use my move brush, for instance, and just like recover some of the volume there, and then do another like change right there. And the V again. Create insert multi-mesh. And as you can see now, we have a brush with 3 different variations of my element. If I go back to the book and I go, wait a second. There we go. I'm gonna go to this guy right here. Oh, I can't. Okay. So let's just append a new like sphere. This sphere is gonna be a placeholder. Come on, ZBrush. Let's do another quick save just in case. There we go. And then here, I'm gonna draw one nail. There we go. And we can push it, position it where it's supposed to be. Just right around there. And then we can select one of the other nails and draw it. There we go. We're drawing another nail. That one's a little bit like that. And finally, we can grab this one right here and draw another nail. And as you can see, now we have a brush that draws nails. So anytime I need to do this sort of like stylized crazy nails, I can just like use this brush right here. If I want to save this brush like permanently, I just need to go here to my brush menu and hit save as. And for instance, right now, this is in a startup resources. That's fine. I'm actually going to go to C data, or actually Pixelogic. I'm going to go to C brushes, and I'm going to go to insert IMM, and I'm going to call this nails, nail IMM, and hit save. So now if I go to the lightbox and I go to my brushes and I go to the insert IMM, you're going to see that we have our nail brush right here. So anytime I need a nail brush, a stylized nail, I have my brush ready. So 5 minutes and I already have a brush that's going to be helping me in future projects. And as you can see, that's making the whole thing more interesting. This sphere, by the way, we can just delete. We don't need it anymore. And there we go. So now we have our 3 nails on the book. Nice, right? Have you guys seen that trick before? Let's see. CSDEFX says, "Hi, Abraham. I sent you the blowtorch sculpting email the other day." Yes. Please resubmit to that one, my friend. I did download it, but if you could resubmit to the new Art Nexus, that would be great. That way I can have everything organized in the same place. Daniel Hamza, what are the projects you have worked on? Ooh, that's a great question. So I can share a couple of them. There is a very famous park here in Mexico called Xcaret. That one was one of the coolest projects I did. So Xcaret is like the Disneyland for Mexico. It's a huge like resort, very like tropical Caribbean and stuff. And in the night they have a show, right? A very Mexican show, and they project a lot of like cool things on the floor. I did the animations for that thing a couple of years ago. Well, not only me and my team, we did this thing right here. I worked for the Diablo Immortal commercial last year, like 2 years ago. I think I worked on it 2 years ago. This is like the battle from home screen. I worked on that one. I worked on another commercial that I can't say right now. So this character right here, I did the textures for this character, the Barbarian, and I did a little bit of texture work for her as well, for the witch. What else? What else? We've been doing a lot of we do a lot of work here on the like a national level, so it's not international, but we do a lot of stuff here for a museum. There's a local museum that's really, it's like the biggest museum on the north of Mexico, and we work with them for like virtual experiences and things. So I've done stuff. I've never worked on a film. That's one of the things that I would love to do one day, like work on a film. I've done some, like a couple of indie games as well. So yeah, I've been doing this for the past 12 years. So yeah. Let's see. I tried everything from restart to everything. I'm just working on backup. Hopefully it does. Yeah, try the backup, man, and go to like a PC service thing so they can help you out, because that's probably more hardware related. Arston says, is there a Udemy course for environment in Maya? I recently finished watching the grenade tutorial and I really like how it went from a grenade to a full war scene. I want to create stuff like that. I do believe we have one. Let me show you. So if you just want environment, like this one, the complete guide to Maya 2023 is great. We do a small little environment right there and we animate and everything. That's a great course if you're just starting a Maya. And then there's like I did like a cinematic, but that one's a little bit more intermediate advanced. This one, Maya environment creation for film. I'm gonna link it here in the chat. That one is it's a really good one. Let's see. Oh yeah, the lighthouse. Oh man, that's my Achilles heel. We do have some 3ds Max courses. I don't do them because I'm not a 3ds Studio Max user, but we do have some instructors that use it, and we've done some as well. What was your first salary as a fresher in the 3D industry, if you don't mind asking? No, that's fine. When I first graduated, well, it's been really weird because I started 3D on 2011, and then I worked a little bit on the 3D industry, but then I realized that my skills were really, really bad, and I stopped working and went back to school for 3 more years, and then after I finished that school, which was Noman, I was able to get a better paying job and stuff. So on the very, very first job, it was like, I don't know, like $10 an hour or something like that. It was really low, really, really, really low. But then when I graduated Noman, the first job that I got after I graduated Noman, I was getting paid $25 for an hour. I was doing character commissions. I was doing characters for a game called The Realms of Conquest. I worked with those guys for like a year, and I had to do like 1 character per week. It was a low poly character, so it wasn't expected to be like super high quality, because the game was like a TTRPG thing. So I was getting paid $25 per hour back then. That was 2016, roughly. But it depends. Every world is different. Like I know here in Mexico, there's no way an artist would be paid $25 an hour. Not even today, after inflation and everything, because Mexico's economy is not as strong as the United States, of course. That was that first job that I got was in the United States. Cool. Okay, so let's see. What else should we do? What else can we do? We got the... I think adding the texture to the thing here might be a good idea. Although that could also be done in texturing, to be honest. So otherwise it's going to be a little bit difficult to get the whole like exact thing. We can use like alphas and stuff, but on this stage of the process, I don't love doing that, to be honest. Okay, let's go for the paper. I think the paper is it's a nice one. So I'm gonna go with this cube right here. I'm gonna scale it down to create, like, as you can see, there's like binds of paper, right? So if we can like replicate that sort of effect, we're gonna be able to get something that looks nice. So the first thing that I notice is that these corners are round. I'm gonna change the C or the transform to a Y symmetry. There we go. Just Y symmetry. So I'm gonna go transform. Let's not use X symmetry. There we go. I'm gonna start like rounding this off a little bit. flattening this, of course. And we can go right here. There we go. And this is what I mean by simplicity out of complexity. Because now that we have one like piece of paper, we can just duplicate this, move it a little bit, scale it, and then duplicate again, scale it over here, and then duplicate again, push it in a little bit more, scale it again, duplicate, push it again, scale it, and then I'm just gonna grab the whole thing, just duplicate everything again, make it thinner, just push it there. And there we go. So now we get this very interesting looking like page setup without actually having to do a lot of work, right? We can Dynamesh, of course. That's gonna like, I actually don't want to Dynamesh. I kind of want to keep it like this. What I do need to do is I need to push some of the pages up and down, push them in here, just like modify a couple of elements so that it fits with the proportions of the book as nice as possible, right? See how easy it is to create again complexity out of simplicity? It was just a box, just a very, very simple box, and look how cool those pages look now. That's the secret of, or that's one of the secrets of the 3D world. If you know how to generate this sort of stuff, you can get away with doing a lot of things in a very short amount of time. Because at the end of the day, all of that is going to be like baked into a normal map, and we're not even gonna care. Cool. Let's go back to the book here. I'm gonna use my pinch brush, pinch this cut right here, and we decided that we wanted to fill these gaps, right? Like all of this. I'm gonna use my clay buildup real quick. Go. And then trim dynamic. It's gonna give us some, again, like interesting like variation on the leather. It's not gonna be perfect. It's gonna look quite like an old book, which is what I want to go for. Christopher is asking, I did see your message. I did see your message, my friend. You want me to answer it? I don't mind answering it. I do have the answer, but I'm not gonna say it if you don't want to. Don't worry. But I did see your message. You can ask again. Don't worry. We are not. There you go. Yeah, don't worry, man. It's a good question. Every question is welcome, man. There's no. A teacher used to say, "There's no stupid questions. You're stupid if you don't ask the question, because no one knows everything." So, hair systems for 3D Studio Max. Yes, there's one that's really, really, really good. It is a little bit pricey, but you can get a free trial. It's Ornatrix. Ornatrix is a very cool like grooming and hair system for 3D Studio Max and for Maya as well. You can actually do that for Maya as well. And it's been used in a lot of studios. It's fairly simple to use. As you can see, you can render with pretty much every single render engine out there, which is great. And yeah, I strongly recommend Ornatrix. I've used it before. Again, it is a little bit pricey. It's not super cheap. If you're going to be using this for a project, you do need to pay for a license, which is $600, or you can rent this, which is $50 for a month. I would suggest renting unless you're going to be doing a lot of hair for a long period of time. But it's a really, really, really good software, Ornatrix. There's another one that's called Yeti. I haven't used this one, but I've heard that it's also really, really good. This is by Peregrine Laughs. And you can also use it for pretty much every single render out there. I know a lot of like studios, like movie studios, use this one. It's a very similar price as you can see right here. I'm not sure if there's a rent option. I don't think it is. You might get this educational license for you, but yeah, this is another one of those like really, really, really powerful hair systems. Ishan Vakshi says, really, this question gets in my head and it is very common now, but it's a degree impossible for a field for future prospects. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ishan. If you could rephrase the question, I'll be happy to answer. Can we use Ordinatrix in 2022 version? Yes, you should be able to do it in 2022 version. Do you have up-to-date tutorial to make video game hair cards? Yeah, we do have a course about hair cards. It's a really good one. Let me see where it is. I show how to do hair cards, and then at the end I show you how to use hair systems like Action, a little bit of Action to get it into Unreal, because in the next couple of years we're gonna see more and more games using it's this one right here, using like hair systems instead of hair cards. As the engines get more powerful and the games get more demanding, we're gonna be seeing this more and more. I'm gonna append another ring here. I'm gonna do the stitches right there. So I'm gonna push this in. Let's go here. Do another one there. The last one right there. Again, all of these elements are gonna be baked in. Like, it's not something that you would like create the whole geometry for, to be honest. You could, but it's just not worth it, because if you're doing this for a game, you're gonna need all the resolution you can. Let's increase the resolution actually for this one a little bit. I'm just gonna add like the insertion points for these stitches, so that it makes more sense that these things are actually. Oh, wait a second there. It seems like we might have. Yeah. Okay. See that right there? That's a problem. That's a problem. Because when we were cleaning the top part, I didn't use back face masking, and I'm like pulling from behind of the element. So I need to go to brush, and then down here it says auto masking, and I need to use back face masking, so that when I fill this with the clay buildup, I'm not actually like pulling from the inside. Otherwise, we would get like a really bad result right there. Yeah, you're welcome, Topi. You are welcome. Tranquil Dingebat, did you faithfully try and recreate the 2D concept, or did you try and give it your own spin? It depends on the client, and it depends on the project. Like, since this is not a project that I was asked by a client, I just like to go with my own spin a little bit. But depending on the client, sometimes you need to follow it to the T. Sometimes studios or art leads like when you add a little bit of your own like flair and style. So it depends. When you're a student, it is encouraged that you follow the concept as close as possible. There's always going to be slight variations. It's impossible to translate. Well, it's not impossible, but it's really difficult to translate a concept perfectly. But as long as you capture the essence and the main things, you should be good. So in this case, I am doing a little bit of a spin. Like, it's not going to be perfectly exact. There we go. So now we can Dynamesh, and now we can use our paintbrush to bring this cut in a little bit more. And again, do the little holes. Let's increase the resolution for the Dynamesh as well. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh, these guys right here also have like a small like bean thing. Yeah, with this one I'm just having fun, to be honest. Let's see. Jose Angel Gonzalez says, hey Abraham, I'm following lots of your courses from Skillshare, and I try some few times to start with the ZBrush course, but I get really mad because I feel like my sculpting technique's too bad. Sorry for my English, I'm Spanish. No te preocupes, José. ¿Eres de España o de aquí de México? O de alguna otra parte de Latinoamérica. Sí, es complicado al principio, Pero el secreto de ZBrush es la práctica. Mientras más practiques y mientras más avances, más fácil va a ser. O sea, la primera vez que hagas, por ejemplo, la calavera del jaguar, que es una del capítulo 1, te va a salir fea, es obvio. Pero si la vuelves a hacer, te va a salir un poquito mejor. Y si la haces una tercera vez, una cuarta vez, una quinta vez, mejor y mejor y mejor. Así hasta que ya logres un resultado que sea bastante bien. Toma tiempo, como todo. Entonces hay que ser pacientes al respecto. Shelby says, how did you get so much knowledge with 3D software? Anything you would suggest other than searching for tutorials to have efficiently learned about the pipeline required for projects? That's a great question. I'm not sure. I feel like I am, like me, Abraham personally, I'm a really curious person. So I like to learn a lot. And I've always been a good student. So I pay attention, I do my research, I study. And I feel like that has contributed to me being able to absorb a lot of like knowledge relatively quickly. But yeah, there's no specific, like I've learned, I'm getting like a tongue twisting thing right here. I have been very self-taught, if that's the word. Like I've learned a lot of the things I know about 3D by my own accord. However, I did have formal education with my my school with Noman, so it really helped, I think, to understand like how the pipeline works. But the pipeline has changed so much in the past years that a lot of the information from softwares that I learned back in school is not valid anymore. So I've had the need to like reinvent myself and learn all of the things that you might need for any type of project. So whenever a client approaches me and they're like, hey, I want to do this, I always dedicate at least 1 week to understanding the kind of things that they need or that the project's going to require, so that I can properly fulfill the request, if you know what I mean. Oh, let's see. Checking some quick messages here. Can I send you some pictures for a little feedback, if that's okay? Tranquil, yes, we now have this thing which is called the Student Art Nexus, which is a place where you can submit stuff. I might not be able to do it right now, but I will be taking a look. You can also submit for portfolio review. If you go to the Saturday's video, I explain how we're going to be handling that sort of stuff, and the links are also there to submit your stuff. Okay, Jose Angel says he's from Spain. I'll answer your question in just a second, Akjija. Traté de hacer el cráneo del jaguar y la calavera el Día de los Muertos, y creo que me fue más beginner friendly la calavera. Sí, la calavera es así como que el fácil, ¿no? El nivel 1, nivel 0. Pero ya que pasas al cráneo del jaguar, te digo, va a requerir un poquito de práctica. O sea, ese cráneo, no sé, es tal vez el cráneo número 50, 60 que yo hago en toda mi vida. He hecho muchísimos cráneos. Entonces, obviamente, cada que lo hago, pues vas mejorando. Every time you do something, you're going to be improving. So, we're talking about the ZBrush course. In the first chapter, we have a little like Mexican skull, and then we have a jaguar or leopard skull. And he's saying that he had an easier time with the candy skull, and it's obvious because it's a simpler project. And what I'm telling him is that the practice is going to be a fundamental part of the whole process. Okay, I want to add this detail right here. I feel like those are just like Tauruses, so I'm just gonna say append. Gonna append another ring 3D. I'm gonna dynamesh this, to be honest, really low to like a 32, because we don't need a lot of topology. There we go. And we're gonna push this in. So when you get holes on your dynamesh, you need to go back and see why those holes are appearing, because there's a lot of different reasons why you might get those holes. So one of the most common reasons is because two sides of the geometry are touching each other, and you need to like solve that. Another option is that you have holes on your geometry, and in the options here on the geometry options, there's an option and mesh integrity where you can fix the mesh. So if you click fix mesh before doing the dynamesh that's causing you the issues, you might be able to solve that problem. There we go. So yeah, just as you can see, a very simple detail right there. Now we can increase the resolution in dynamesh, or just leave it like that. Again, this is going to be baked, so no need to worry too much about it. And there's just another like cool detail that we're going to have on on the character itself. Here, I'm just gonna push this. At least this one here. Just gonna push this a little bit. And as you can see, as we start like doing a render to see the whole thing in the same color, you can see how the complexity is becoming more and more apparent. Again, thanks to all of the little details that we're adding. Bunty, how are you, my friend? Usually inflating will do that as well, as Tranquil says. If you inflate and then redynamesh those areas that are really, really thin, you might be able to avoid having those like horrible holes. Sí, hacer muchos cráneos, esa es una buena forma de practicar la forma, mi estimado. Alex D, how do you think AI will replace beginner artists in studios, or no reason to worry about? Oh, that's a complicated question. I think right now, the concept artists are the ones that are suffering the most. I have one friend who's a concept artist. You guys know him, Ed Fox, and he's been having quite a few issues with AI because people don't want to hire any more artists when they can just do it with a very simple AI, right? So it's definitely a little bit of a scary time right now, but it shouldn't be as long as we try to find a way to use the tool in an ethical manner. So if you guys are going to be working on a studio that's using AI, make sure you tell them to use to still use artists to polish that AI art. As for 3D, I've seen some early AI stuff where you give a prompt and you get like a mesh that looks similar to the prompt that you're going for, but you still need a lot of cleanup for the production pipelines. Like, you can't just take that and get it into an engine. That's not possible just yet. Not even for animation, like motion capture. I know motion capture was one of those things that a lot of people were scared about because it felt like animators were going to be out of jobs. No, it's not that they were out of jobs. Now animators need to work with that data, and they need to use that data to recreate, well, all of the things that they would normally need to recreate. So AI and technology in general, it's more like a tool. So you need to be a very proficient artist without the tool, so that no matter what tool comes your way, you're able to adapt to it and use it for your benefit as well. So yeah, I think that would be my general advice in regards to AI. It is scary though. It is scary. I've been using, for instance, ChatGPT quite a bit, and it's amazing. Like, I love ChatGPT. It's really good. It has saved me quite a bit of time in a lot of like really like basic stuff or basic tasks that I need to do. ChatGPT is a great way to simplify those tasks. And that's great because by simplifying those tasks, I have more time to do the cool stuff, right? The stuff that the AI cannot do. So if we use the AI that way, I think we might be able to get better results. And you need to be very ethical about it because it's very easy to cheat with AI. And I think that's where a lot of people are worried, because it's very easy to cheat and it's very easy to get. It's very difficult to caught it right now. Maybe later on we'll get more tools to catch it a little bit easier, but right now, yeah, it's not as simple. I'm doing this sort of like borders on the book, kind of like reinforced leather or something. Because I can see some stitches, like all of these guys, and I feel like we could benefit quite a bit from having this border. There we go. So yeah, one of the things that I tell my students over here is like, AI is not going anywhere, right? Like, it's not gonna disappear. It's not like we're gonna ban it from everywhere and no one's gonna be able to use it anymore. Like, AI is here to stay. Might as well learn how to use it without, of course, like damaging or hurting anyone. And if we can do that, then, well, we'll find new stuff. It's like it happened when Photoshop released a couple of like 20 years ago. Photographers were like, well, what's the point? You no longer need a photograph. And we still have photographers. We still have traditional painters. We still have traditional sculptors, even though we have ZBrush. So it's just a tool at the end of the day. People that were not going to buy the original service will not buy, or will go elsewhere. That's the thing. Let's see. How much better do you need to be at 3D environment designing in order to get an entry-level job? About what level do you think something is ready to work in an industry? It depends a lot, and I hate to give this answer because it's a really complex answer, right? Like markets, studios, everywhere is different. You might have a studio that's really lenient and you can get away with doing simple stuff. I'll give you guys an example. When I first started working, I started working at this studio called CGBot. This is a studio here in Mexico, and they do like art for games. So they don't do their own games. They're like a outsource company that does like assets for other games. And back in the day, they gave me an art test. The first art test was to model a D6. Like if I could model a die with normal maps and everything, and then if I could model a hammer, like those were the 2 art tests that you were given. And I passed them in like 2 weeks and I was in. That's it. That was the level that they were expecting. Like if you knew how to model, do a normal map and do a texture map, you were in. That's it. That's all they needed. Nowadays, they're of course more, they require a higher level. But that's the thing. There will always be a studio that might need someone that's just starting. That's how I got my first like character gig. Like the studio was a really small studio and they were like, hey, we've seen your stuff. You're good. This is what we have. Do you want to go? Do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, sure. That looks fun. And I started working for them. So it's very, very dependent on the market and stuff. So my advice is keep your eyes open and try to look for all of the opportunities that could arise, because you never know when there's going to be a project that's going to be the project that's going to get you into the industry. And once you're in, that's the thing. Once you're in, you need to prove that you deserve to be there. And that means that your job, your work ethic, your personality, everything has to be like great. You need to be a great team player. You need to deliver the quality at the times and with the level of perfection that they might require. So, because a lot of people think like, oh, cool, I'm in, and then they start slacking or they become really, really lazy and stuff. And well, that's not the point, right? Like you need to always be a great artist. There we go. It's another detail. Let's go back to this border right here. I'm gonna do it slightly different. I'm gonna do a cube for now. So I just want to get like the main shapes first. It's right around there. I'm gonna use knife brush. Let's save real quick. Let me save normally. There we go. I remember, as you guys know, everyone's life is a little bit different. There was one year, it was 2012. In 2012, I couldn't continue with my 3D career. That's when I realized that, hey, I need more knowledge. I'm still like quite green. I need to study more. I need formal education in this stuff. But Noman was really expensive. It is a really expensive school. It's really good, but it's really expensive. So what I did was I worked with my dad. He has a different type of job. He does like consulting things for companies and stuff. And when I was with him, there was one guy that gave me a great advice. He was like, hey, you're young. I was like, I think like 18 at the time. He was like, you're young. So right now your focus should be to study. You need to study as much as you can. You need to learn as much as you can. And once you know as much as you can, then you can start working and proving to everyone else that you know your stuff. I was like, oh, that's a really good concept, right? So that's what I did. For the next like 4 or 5 years, I just like went super heavy on the study bits, and that allowed me to become really good at 3D. I'm not saying that's the same thing that everyone should do, but to me it really helped. See, this is where things start like not matching up. It's a little bit asymmetrical. It's either asymmetrical or this thing should be like further hidden or something. Let's see, some more questions. Yeah, let me see if I have the link over here for the Art Nexus thing. Give me 1 second. Let's see, next to Art Support Nexus. Okay, so this link that I'm gonna share right now is the link where you can create a folder with your name and you can submit your questions. Like if there's a project you're having issues with and stuff, you can submit. I can't promise I'm gonna be able to go through all of them, but I'm gonna be seeing which ones of them are like interesting and things that I can help with, and I'll be addressing them as well. Let's see. Will we get to improve on our 3D skills more even though we're doing a job? Yeah, you can definitely do that. You need to, like, just by working, just by doing the stuff on a studio or on a job, you are going to get a little bit better because you're practicing and you're just getting speed and understanding like quality and stuff like that. So, of course, you're going to get a little bit better. However, if you want to be even, or if you want to grow even faster as an artist, you're definitely going to have to invest a little bit of time on your free time to watch a tutorial, to learn from someone, get in a class, something, right? There's no way otherwise, or I mean, there is a way, but it's just a little bit slower. So if you wanna become a lot more, or if you want to improve a lot of your art a lot quicker, you need to invest the time. I remember, again, when I was in school, my classes started at 9 a.m. and I would go back home at like 12 p.m. like not 12 p.m. like 12 midnight, right? 12 a.m. So I would be at school for more than 12 hours just learning and improving as much as I could. I know not everyone can do that. I understand that everyone has like different opportunities, but that's how I got good quite fast, I would say. Let's see. AAA Studios uses 3D scans already and they still need modelers to fix it. Yep, that's it. Yeah, and yeah. Think Mesh is perfectly right there. Like, even though you use 3D scans, even though you use like motion capture, you still need artists to clean it up and to make sure it looks the best it can. Andy says, if you use a warm HDRI, how should you light the scene? That's a good question. Since you already have warm, if you want to have contrast, you can go for cool lights, of course. So having the contrast between warm and cool. However, if you have warm and you just do more warm, it also looks very interesting. It looks like an homogeneous or like more balanced composition, I would say. If you can flip the controls in a pet tablet app as a lefty, I know your struggle. Yeah. Or sometimes you can even flip the whole tablet. Like, I know this one that I'm using, you can flip the whole tablet. It is possible. Nice book. What's the knowledge held inside, says 3D Mutiny. It's the knowledge to control the unknown. To tap into the powers of the old ones. And understand the universe in a way no one has ever seen before. Ooh, that sounds epic, right? Yeah, that's important. I've always mentioned this, but it's really, really cool when you add a little bit of story to your things, just because it makes for a nice and fun thing. Now, I need to add the bind thing, and there's a couple of ways to do it, but to be honest, Maya is just faster for that. And I kind of want to bring this into Maya to do some of the other bits that I'm missing. So I'm gonna very quickly jump into Maya, okay, guys? I'm gonna save this here. We're gonna merge everything, so merge visible, and then we're gonna decimate this to like 150k so that we can have a low resolution. And yeah, it's like the Book of Bile Darkness. And let's open Maya. I can't connect your Udemy. You can check your link. Yeah, it's here. I've been trying to. Here's the link to Udemy. So if you go to that link, and you check the information here in the description, you can find the promo code and you can get any of our courses for 90% off. I'm gonna be doing a Marvelous Designer tutorial tomorrow, by the way, guys. So I'm going to do like an introduction to Marvelous Designer. It's going to be a one video where I show you the basics, and we are going to do a nice little exercise because this is one of the courses that, as you can see, it's one of our top selling courses. So people really like this one. If you want to get it, it's also 90% off right now. So this offer is only gonna be valid for the next couple of days. I'm gonna go real quick for a glass of water, guys. Just give me 2 minutes, 2 minutes at most. I'm gonna play a very, very little ad right here, and I'll be right back, okay? I'm back. Necronomicon, there you go. My PC specs, 32 gigs of RAM, 3080 Ti graphics card, Ryzen 7 5800X, I think that's the processor. That's it. Bunty says, as a 3D generalist, what area should I focus more to learn? I can do everything and suck at everything. There's a lot of need for prop artists, so if you can do like basic environments, tables, chairs, doors, stuff like that, that's always important. Statues, of course. So a little bit of everything. Yeah, it's a little bit complicated to tell you exactly what you might need, but those are usually guidelines. Akame Gakil, who watches anime? I do watch anime. I just finished reading the Demon Slayer manga. It's really good. I liked it, and I can't wait for the new season to begin. I've been watching. My wife and we've been watching Attack on Titan, of course. Shingeki no Kyoji, really good as well. Okay, so let's go here, and we're gonna export this guy as our magic book version 2, and we're gonna use this as a sort of like a placeholder to like add some of the other things like the papers. Maya is a great way to add the papers, I would say. So let's go to it. Okay, it's finished. There we go. Ta-da! So we got it right here. Cool. So let's start with the, well, let's assign the Lambert one, which is a little bit darker. There we go. And let's start with the binding thing, like this rope thing that we have right there. So to do the rope, the easiest thing would be to go to the top view, and I'm gonna go to my create curve tools, and I'm gonna create an EP curve. I'm gonna start on the back here, and I'm gonna start drawing a curve that follows really closely the shape of this guy right here. We're gonna need to clean it up, of course, a little bit. There we go. So now, as you can see, when we create the curve, we get this controlled vertices. We might need to play around with this guys a little bit to get this curve to read as if it's really tight, and as if it's really like hugging the the surface of the book. And so roughly around here. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. And now, of course, we're gonna go to the front view, and we're gonna position this like up here, and then this one's like down here. And of course, we need to push this on top of the character. Where's the next point? This one? Should have another point. There we go. There we go. And that way, we're gonna start creating the tension. So that, again, that it looks like this thing is actually going over the character. And once we have the curve, we can just use the sweep mesh, which the sweep mesh is a really handy tool. It's just gonna create a line or a mesh. It's gonna go along the surface of the character. We can play with the precision a little bit here. And there we go. And the cool thing is that the curve still controls the element. So if I want to do like a couple of adjustments here, if I adjust the curve, it is gonna adjust everything. A little bit of overlap there is not a problem. I want to push this a little bit here too to relax that curvature. And again, the important part here is that it looks like it's tense, because that's one of the main problems I would say with ropes in games and stuff. And that's the fact that they look very wobbly quite frequently. So by really tensing them, we can give this sort of like a, yeah, let's just like tense aspect. Cool. So let's see. Ryzen 7 5800X. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, the sweep mesh is really easy here in Maya, as you can see. And the Jandra says, hello, sir. Can I upload a Maya file in Art Support and Nexus? Yes, I'm not going over them right now, but we're going to have a dedicated video where we go over some issues. So if you want to upload already... oh my god, sorry. If you want to upload your stuff, go for it. Just make sure you write a little document so that I know what the issue is and I can help you a little bit better. How do you have a lot of polys and no lag in the viewport? It's not a lot of polys. We got only 300,000. 300,000 is not a lot of polys. This is fine. I mean, of course, the computer helps, right? I've mentioned this before. I have a good computer. I'm not sure if I have UPU instancing on. No, I don't have it, and I don't have instances. This is not an instance. So I've mentioned this before. Maya doesn't really struggle with a lot of polygons. Like here, I'll show you. There we go. We got 30 copies of the book. We are at 8, almost 9 million polygons, and Maya runs perfectly fine. So Maya doesn't really have an issue with a lot of polygons. It has an issue with one single element that has a lot of polygons. So if you have one single object that has, let's say, 4 million polygons, it's going to be more difficult to Maya to process that one. It also becomes a little bit problematic when you go into the modes, like into phase mode. So for instance here, if I go into phase mode, it's fast. But if I were to combine, actually, I'll just do it. If I combine all of this, like see that? Like when I try to manipulate all of them together, I'm going to combine them into a single object. So now this is going to be a like 7 million polygon object. That's when Maya is going to have issues. It's like, whoa, this is too much. I need to think about too many polygons at the same time. Okay, so you can see now here, when I click it, it takes a little bit for it to process. And if I go into phase mode, like look at that. It's very, very slow to go into phase mode because it needs to load all of these phases like into memory so that it knows that we're working on it. But this one right here, simple one, very easy to go in and out. So you usually don't have an issue inside of Maya or inside of softwares. You have a lot of objects with high poly counts, but if you have one single object with a lot of polygons, that's when it gets tricky. Let's see. Abraham, I think you can use the distribute option to make the rope exactly like that. Yeah, we could use the like if we want to give it this sort of like texture, we could also use the distribute option. But this texture, again, since this is going to be for games, we're probably going to be using a texture from Substance Painter. And the cool thing about the sweep mesh is that it already gives you the UV. So as you can see, the UV is perfectly straight for the rope. So if I have a rope texture, it's going to be like perfectly there. Christopher says, bro, is there any big difference of using Ordinatrix for Max and NextGen for Maya? If I'm going for character design in future, should I switch to Maya? Most characters are done in Maya, I would say. They are different, like they're not compatible, I think. You might be able to export some curves from one to the other, but they're not really compatible. So it might depend. I would recommend, it depends. It really depends. It's a tough question. I would recommend you look up the studio that you want to work in, and depending on the studio that you want to work in, go for that one. Like check what kind of softwares they use. Okay, I'm gonna go front view now. Let's do the papers. We're gonna finish today with the papers, okay? So this paper is right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my, this one right here. I'm gonna create a polygon. I'm gonna create a very basic like square polygon right here. And then that edge right there, we're gonna extrude to the border. And then it kind of extrudes down. And it kind of extrudes forward. That cut right there, we're going to do that with transparency. It doesn't really make sense to do that with geometry, to be honest. It will be too much geometry. Let's position this a little bit better right there. And of course, we're gonna flip the normal maps, or the normals that we're seeing. We're seeing it forward like this. This one and this one, I'm gonna bevel them. And I'm gonna play with the fraction of the bevel to make it a little bit smoother. We lost the music, right? There we go. Can you do a video working with scale, ZBrush specifically? What do you mean by that? Like, what specific thing about the scale do you mean? Because we've done like similar things in the past, but if there's a specific thing that you're struggling with, we can check it out. There we go. So that's one, and then we have like a very simple square right here. Then you see cube. Actually, I kind of want to like sculpt this, guys, to be honest. Not going to be able to do it today or on this stream. We might do it on Thursday's stream. We're going to have one more stream on Thursday. And remember, guys, we got this promo code going on, 90% discount on all of our courses in Udemy. So if there's anything that you've liked so far here on the channel, we probably have something you might like on the premium course as well. The premium courses, if you want to support the channel, the premium courses are the best way you can support the channel. Of course, your likes, your comments, and your shares also help. But the premium courses are our main sustain. So, yeah. There we go. Let's turn on ambient occlusion so we can see a little bit more of the... Like, all of the details. Look at that. Not a bad improvement, right? From what we had at the beginning of the session to this. I think we're doing quite nice. Can we scale down the UI in Maya less than 100%? That's a good question. I don't think so. I'm not sure. There are some like workspaces here, like the modeling expert, where you get like the full viewport and you need to do everything using menus. So if you want a lot of real estate, that could be it. But I usually just use the general one, to be honest. Although I know with smaller screens, it can be a little bit complicated. I know if you have like a 4K screen, you get a lot of space. I don't have a 4K screen. So yeah. Having issues with keeping the scale consistent in one program to the next. For example, when I go see from ZBrush to Marbles or Designer, the scale is way off. Yeah, usually the scale inside of ZBrush is going to be centimeters. So right now, when I imported this here inside of Maya, as you can see, this is like 6 centimeters. And Marvelous is not centimeters. Marvelous is meters. So when you do that, you're going to have like a super tiny one or a super big one. What I tend to do is I like to bring my stuff here into Maya early on the development process, and then just make sure everything is scaled properly, and then bring it into ZBrush. But yeah, it's a matter of the thing. How to reset Maya interface up here. where it says workspaces, you can go and say reset current workspace, and you're gonna, well, reset the interface that you're working with. Cool. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna stop the stream now, or we're gonna finish the stream. If there's more questions, now's the time before we close this. We had a lot of viewers this time around. I think this is one of the best streams we had so far. So thank you everyone for being here. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you want to help us out, like if I can ask a favor from you guys, is if you could share the link to the promo that we did today, which is the spring break sale, with your friends, with your like schools and stuff like that. That would be great, because the more exposure we get and the more people know about our content, the easier it is to get, or the easier it is for us to produce even more videos. A single object with high poly count is bad. Yes, usually. I mean, you definitely need one of those for bakes, but yeah. Betterhand says, I haven't been modeling in Maya for almost 6 months. I only work on stage in Unreal, and now I feel bad watching you working on Maya. I feel like I lost my speed and ability. The good thing is that you can get it back. Like, it happens to me quite often that I work for several weeks on Maya or in ZBrush, and then when I go back, it's like, oh my god, I need to kind of like relearn. But once you start going and practicing, it should be a lot easier. Yeah, multiple it should be a little bit easier for the system, Akame. Rod Mileski says, not sure if on the menu, but you could texture the model. Yeah, we're gonna be texturing this. Like the idea with this one is we're gonna be doing the high poly sculpt, and then we're gonna be doing retopology, and then we're gonna be doing like texturing. We're gonna texture this inside of Unreal, inside of Substance Painter to get it and make it a game asset. So yeah, we're gonna do all of that, my friends. And if you wanna make sure you get all of the news, hit the little subscribe button down here so that you get the notification when we're going live and when we're continuing with this book right here. So, well, that's it, guys. That is it. Again, don't forget our sale right here, Super Spring Sale, 90% off every single course from every single software that we've done so far. It's gonna be available for the next couple of days. And thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. With 30, we have 8 million polygons, Akame. And as you saw, it was easy to handle for Maya. My computer is set to high performance. Yes, that is right. That is right. So, yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you very much. I'm gonna go have my breakfast, and then I'm gonna continue working on the premium course. I'll see you back tomorrow with the Marvelous Designer intro video. So if you want to learn about Marvelous Designer, you cannot miss tomorrow's video. Make sure to hit the little notification bell, the little subscribe icon, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day, and have a great week as well. I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.